What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the It's Just Work podcast, hosted by yours truly, Chuck Clemens, and my brother, Stephen Hurley. We are back with another week of our college basketball picks. How'd you do this past week, Steve?
I was all right. I had a few underdog picks that went well, Michigan State and Arizona, but I think later in the week, especially BYU and Louisville, those two teams and Alabama, they kind of finished off the week, not so great. Start off good, 3-0, but then 0-3, so not room for improvement.
Yeah. I mean, poor outing for me. Poor, just poor. I gotta be better. Do we want? I don't even want to say the record out loud, but we're still going. I think it's what week four coming up.
Yeah, still a good overall record
So
though.
we'll go over. I think we're at. Let's check real quick. I am 10-9. You are 11-8. So you are in the lead right now. If this ended today, you'd win. You'd win a lot of money. Just kidding. Um, Another week. We got Players Era Tournament. Got some high level games. Let's break them down again. First game. Let's go St. John's, Iowa State, and the Players Era Festival. Who are you taking there?
Yes, so I think this is a pretty unfortunately bad matchup for St. John's. So Iowa State is a team I wouldn't say so far they've played slow, but traditionally they're a slower paced team that's defense for focused. They don't turn the ball over, and they also force a lot of turnovers. That's kind of I think the recipe to beat St. John's. I think St. John's they try to turn you over. It's going to be hard, especially with Lipsy in the backcourt, to do that. And I also think St. John's ball handling is a little weak, and I think Iowa State could kind of take advantage of that. So I'm going to go Iowa State here, even though it pains me, St. John's fan, but I think that this is just a bad matchup for them early in the year. Close game. I think it's going to be a close game, but I just think the continuity and the style of play that Iowa State plays is just a bad matchup for St. John's.
Yeah, I think it'll come down to whoever we said so far early in the season, whoever controls the pace of the game. I'm gonna go with St. John's though. I think they're a team that they obviously started pretty bad, or not pretty bad. They had a pretty good game versus Alabama. They lost. They were right there.
Right.
They're building up their resume, like getting some easier wins, and I think they kind of need this game versus a high level team to kind of get back into where people kind of thought they were. I think their athleticism is better than Iowa State's in terms of like just getting up and down. If they can kind of control that pace, if the guards can be a little bit better in terms, like I said, taking care of the ball, playing as good as their front court is, they're like a super hard team to stop. So it's gonna be hard for me to go against them. So I'm gonna go with St. John's this game. So starting off opposite teams early on,
Yeah.
so it'll be a huge factor for us. Next we have Gonzaga versus Alabama on Monday, also in the Players Festival. Who do you got with that one?
This is a very similar matchup for Alabama that they just played Illinois.
Hmm.
Gonzaga's very up and down, good front court, and deep. Alabama's pretty deep, but I was gonna say Gonzaga's very deep off the bench. Um, my thing here is that obviously Illinois they have a good front court. Ivisic was coming back from injury. I didn't really know the extent of that, and he didn't play as much as I thought he would have. This Gonzaga front court's playing 30 plus minutes. I just think here they're deeper. I think their front court is going to pose some problems for Alabama. And I do think Gonzaga defensively is going to be able to guard Alabama halfway decently as best they can. It's no easy task. So I'll go with Gonzaga here.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Gonzaga too. I do think the front court, like I said, with the whole season with Alabama is definitely something that isn't there right now. And obviously you have Graham Ike over there in Gonzaga. He's just a force down low. But I also do think they'll put pressure on. It'll be a different look for these Alabama guards. You got longer, taller wings, taller guards. Jalen
Mm-hmm.
Worley, Grant
Very
Fox.
good defender. Yep.
That they could put on these two guards, kind of make it a little tough for them. So if they can kind of force them into these tough shots that Purdue has given them, and they kind of just dominate the game down low, I do think Gonzaga will kind of take this game. So I also have Gonzaga in this one.
I want to say as well, we've been 0 for 2 going against Alabama, so maybe
Yeah,
hopefully it doesn't hurt us this
yeah,
time, but
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
third
yeah.
time's a charm.
You think about that. It's true.
Yeah.
Next, let's go another Players Era Festival game. Let's go Houston versus Tennessee.
So I think with this players era tournament as well, most these teams are playing back to back. So I think the bench comes into play here a little bit more than you'd think. And Houston right now, not from what I've seen, not very deep, whereas Tennessee's a little bit more, deeper, whatnot. Tennessee's very comfortable playing the style of play that Houston wants to play. I'm going to go Tennessee here. I think that their team flying under the radar, haven't played anyone that great yet, but I think especially their team that's, versus Houston, they're not going to be uncomfortable with that physicality. I think they're going to be able, if there is foul trouble, especially a back-to-back game, they're a little better adept right now than I think Houston is. So I'll go with Tennessee.
I do think this is gonna be a great matchup. Like you kind of said, be a great matchup for Houston to have. Sometimes Houston just beats teams purely based off of just like this more physical. They go hard on
Absolutely.
the team. So that's actually a great point you make. Um, I think I'm gonna still go with Houston. Seeing a little bit more of them, I think Samson's gonna have them just ready. I think they're always ready to play.
Agreed.
Offensively, they're better. I think offensively than past few years. Um,
Absolutely. From what it
Obviously,
seems like.
Fleming's as a freshman guard, dynamic. Milos, the point guard, he's a steady point guard. Then you got Tugler who's taking that next step offensively as well. Chris Cenac who can kind of spread the floor, play down well. So it's gonna be a tough team to guard. I do like Tennessee though. Definitely a team that I was pretty high on to start the year. So that'll be a huge win for them if they do win. But I think we'll go with Houston this one.
Yeah.
Will be a great game. Really good game. Really physical game. Let's move on to Michigan versus Auburn. Also in the Players Era Tuesday, 8:30.
Yeah. So Michigan's a team so far this year. They haven't lost yet, but they've had a few close calls. I think Auburn, they obviously had a close loss against Houston. So that was, even though they lost, they showed some promise. I think here a lot of this game is going to come down to, do you trust Todd Pettiford against Michigan's perimeter defense, or do you trust Ellie Cadeau against Auburn's perimeter defense in terms of controlling the game? Michigan's a team that turns the ball. The past 2 years so far, they've turned the ball over a lot. They don't really force turnovers. So against an Auburn team that I think is just going to be better at taking care of the ball and forcing turnovers, I'm going to go Auburn here. I think definitely after that, I'll say definitely after that, Houston loss. Steven Pearl after the game, he was pretty heated. That probably translated into the locker room, and I think these guys are going to be ready to play for the Players Tournament because they're a team that they want to make their mark known. That without Bruce Pearl, without Janai Broom, and all those guys from last year, that they're going to be a very competitive team atop the SEC. And I think Michigan has a lot more holes than people realize.
No, I agree. I do think Michigan has a lot to work on. I'm still not that high on Auburn. I mean, that was a great game versus Houston. Like they were right there.
Right.
They could have honestly won that game, but I don't know. I'm just
Elijah Freeman for Auburn, by the way, is a guy I'm excited to watch. I've heard a lot of NBA
hmm
draft buzz around him, so
Yeah, I
definitely
mean,
for sure.
yeah. So I think we'll go Michigan on this one. I do think like they're starting off a little bit slow, but I do think that potential is there. You have a guy like Yaxel, their big man is really good. If they can kind of just limit the turnovers a little bit, I think they're a really talented team, really dangerous team. So, and I'm just not that high on Auburn right now, but so I'm gonna go with Michigan on this one. Um,
Absolutely.
moving on to Thursday, let's go to North Carolina versus Michigan State in the Fort Myers tip-off tournament. It's a 4:30 game. What do you got on that one?
Yeah, so this one, I wish Seth Trimble was playing, to be honest, for UNC, but I think this game is both teams match up pretty well. The front courts for both teams definitely match up well. I think the difference here, in just my opinion, is I think UNC without Seth Trimble now, they're running pretty thin in terms of just the bench, it's pretty thin. Michigan State's playing really well right now. I just think, especially for UNC, they had a good win against Kansas, no doubt. Definitely playing pretty good ball, but I just think right now Michigan State's a team that they're they're rolling right now. So I'm gonna go with them.
Yeah, I mean they shot the ball very well. This past week versus Kentucky. If they can keep that up, they're a super dangerous team. They all played well together. It's talking about that continuity again. This was a great head coach. This is a hard one for me. I don't know because they're really good. Michigan State is rolling. I don't know if they can be as efficient as they were versus Kentucky in terms of like just scoring the ball.
Right.
And obviously, we've known like the past few years they've kind of struggled with just like scoring sometimes.
Absolutely.
North Carolina, like you said, they match up very well, especially in the front court. You got a guy like Caleb Wilson, who's just a problem. So, oof. This is probably one of the tougher ones I was actually thinking about. Michigan State is rolling now. They are rolling.
I think if Seth Trimble was playing, I'd be a lot more considering UNC. I just think Seth Trimble, especially a guy that's going to be a starter for you, those guys are not easily replaceable.
Yeah, he's huge. He's huge. So I think I'm gonna rock with Michigan State on this one as well. They're rolling. They can shoot at half as well as they did last game, and they'll still be in the game. So, that's actually a really good game. I'm excited for that one.
Absolutely.
To end it off on Thursday, end it off on Thanksgiving, we have Duke versus Arkansas, 8 p.m. and the CBS Sports Classic, played in Chicago, Illinois. So really neutral set for both of these teams. What do you got?
Yeah, so I think Duke so far has played Texas, they played Kansas, and I think one as a team, one of their weaknesses right now, when I watch them play, is I don't think they just have the point guard situation figured out. Not that Caleb Foster or Boozer can't be that guy, but I'm interested to see them when they go against a team that's going to pressure and whatnot. And versus Kansas, it wasn't all great for most of that game. It was kind of a tougher game. I I know Arkansas lost to Michigan State and they almost lost to Winthrop, believe it or not. They had a late comeback. I just think the guards here I think Duke's the better team. I think Arkansas, I just think the guards here for them, especially defensively, they're DJ Wagner, Acuff. Those guys are very underrated defenders in my opinion. And I'm going to go with Arkansas here. I think they're a team that physicality wise are going to be able to match up with Boozer and Big Pat. And I also think physicality for Boozer and Pat early in the season have been an issue. And not saying that it can't go against that, but I mean, Pringle, Brazil, Richmond, Carter Knox, those guys are, I mean, they're physical as physical can get. So I'm going to go with Arkansas here.
Yeah, no, that's you make some great points. I think the bigs for Arkansas are physical. They're more lanky.
Hmm.
Bigs like obviously Pringle, Brazil. They're very long players. Patrick Ibanga, Boozer. They're more like they're not as long. They're just like wide. I think that's where Duke is going to win this game. If they do win this game, it's going to be down low, like just pounding
Hmm.
down low to these two guys. And then once the help starts coming, that's when we start kicking out to Isaiah Evans.
Right,
Keenan
right.
shooting the ball pretty well. And Caleb Foster can, get to that level where I hope he can get to. That will be super dangerous. But I do agree with your point that Arkansas guards are probably a little more talented. But I do see like I wouldn't really bet against Caden Boozer. Like he's played these high level guards his whole life. You know what I'm saying? Foster's obviously an older player now, so I think it'd be a tough game. Um, I do think just Duke's just the better team. So I'm just gonna rock with the better team on this one. I think Duke's gonna take this one. So that's the end of Thursday. Friday we have another great game. We have UConn versus Illinois. You will be in tennis to that game, like you just told me 5 minutes ago. In MSG. What you got on that one?
Yeah, very excited to go after Thanksgiving, so that should be fun. But yeah, again, for Illinois here, they should be everyone's getting healthier, another week of practice in games, so hopefully that minutes restrictions up. Terrace Reed and Braylon Mullins still question marks on whether they'll play. Terrace Reed did not play as we record this on Sunday for UConn. So I just think even with Terrace Reed coming back, he's a little banged up. This Illinois team is very good. I'm gonna go with Illinois. I don't. I think UConn's very good. I think they easily, when healthy, could be a top five team in the country. But just think Illinois right now. They're more a little bit more together, coming off a loss. I know UConn's coming off a loss, but I'm just not sure those guys are going to be healthy.
Yeah.
I don't know the
Yeah.
status of them. And Illinois defensively has impressed me so far. I know Alabama they put up a lot of points, but I think that was kind of just Alabama's guards are really good and just the pace of the game. I think this one's going to be a little slower. I think UConn's going to have a little bit tougher time, especially with the on-ball defense of Boswell, Stojakovic, and Wagler. Those guys are good, so
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Illinois here.
Yeah, I'm agree with you on this one. Obviously, we saw UConn versus Arizona with Terrace Reed. There were times where it just wasn't UConn basketball. They were stagnant. players like Carabin. It was tough for him to score sometimes.
Right.
Down low, it was just tough for them. And if they don't have Terrace Reed, I think he's huge for them. But they don't have him, be really tough. Illinois, I think, is probably a top from the teams I've seen so far. Probably a top three team, especially offensively. A lot of European guys, they just work well together. And, they're one of my teams that, obviously, a team that you mentioned early on, but a team that I'm really starting to like as well. So, come off a tough loss versus Bama. Yeah, I think we'll rock with Illinois on this one. I think like you kind of said, you kind of a little banged up, and I just think Illinois is just a better team with Terrace
Yeah.
Reed and
No,
Michigan.
I don't. Yeah, it's going to be a great game, though. I have
Yeah,
no
it's gonna
doubt.
be packed too. It's gonna be a home game for UConn.
It is. It
Just for them,
is.
like whenever they play there, it's crazy. So, but I do think some Fighting Illini fan will be out in attendance and help out with that. But
Yeah.
we
But
go. So
yeah, no, I think it'll be that's yeah, be a great game.
yeah,
Maybe what we could do here as well is maybe we could pick some winners of these Feast Week tournaments. If
yeah.
you
So which
need,
so which ones do you want to highlight?
we could do just the three, the Battle Atlantis, Maui, and Players Era.
Okay. So the players area you said is just two games, and they kind of choose.
Yeah, so it's the top two teams based off their record first, and I think it's point differential. So
Okay. So probably,
I'll give you a few minutes if you want to look that over.
yeah. So I mean, we're just picking who we think the best team is in the term,
Yeah,
basically.
who's going to come out on top? Yeah, so go 3-0
Uh,
pretty much.
mm, I'll give you a couple options. I'll give you a couple options. I'm thinking. I think you could put Gonzaga in there.
Hmm.
I can see Gonzaga winning. Um, Obviously Houston's another team I can see winning
Right.
just because they're Houston. So I'll say Gonzaga, Houston, or actually I'll just stick with those two, Gonzaga or Houston. How about you?
I'm gonna say, I mean, there's no wrong
Yeah,
options. I'll put it
no.
that way. But I really like Gonzaga as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say kind of down to Gonzaga and Iowa State. So I'll just pick one. I'm gonna go with Gonzaga.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, and then we got the Battle Atlantis. Well, you look that up.
Yeah, what teams are in that?
It's like
What
so
team?
St. Mary's, Virginia Tech, Colorado State. Could look up the other ones. While I look it up, though, I'll give you my winner. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with Virginia Tech.
Okay.
Very high on them. I think this is a tournament where they show everyone we can be an NCAA tournament team. They're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have Colorado State's gonna be a quality opponent that first round game, and then they could possibly play a St. Mary's team. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
big one. Vanderbilt's also in it. Western
Yeah,
Kentucky,
then, yeah.
VCU, and South Florida. South Florida actually pretty and VCU both pretty good mid majors,
Mhm,
so that should be
mhm.
fun to watch. But I'll
Yeah.
go with Virginia Tech here. I think Neo is just an unreal player, and I think they're a little flying under the radar right now.
Yeah, just looking at these teams. I haven't really been able to watch a lot of these teams besides really just Virginia Tech, honestly. Obviously St. Mary's, Colorado State, they're going to be some teams that can definitely give a fight. They're always good every single year.
Hmm.
So VCU, A10. I think I'm going to go with Virginia Tech too. Really just like the one team I've kind of seen play. Give it someone who I think is a top five player in the draft next year.
Right?
Tournament like this, so it's kind of tough to kind of.
That's definitely, I would say it's not the popular pick for this tournament, but hey, we gotta,
Yeah.
live on the edge a little bit here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Okay,
So,
last tournament.
yeah, we got Maui. So Maui is NC State is in there,
Yeah,
Texas is in there, Seton
USC,
Hall.
Washington State, yeah. That'd be good,
Yeah,
good little tournament. I think with me from teams I'm looking at right now, like I said, I've been high on North Carolina State uh
yeah,
beginning of the season. Seen Texas, USC is okay. I think I'm just rock out with North Carolina State, team that I've pretty been high on. I like their makeup, I like their coach. Um, so I think I'm just gonna rock with them.
me as well. I'm gonna go with NC State. They played VCU the other day. Saw a little bit of that game, and that's a quality opponent. So I'm gonna go with them here. Just think they have the best team, and I think that best coach, and the best team. I'm gonna go with them.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how these picks go this week. We'll go our record based off those first seven games that we did, and then we'll see who kind of wins those tournaments.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, another week down in the books. Let's go.
Yeah, should
Make
be a
sure you
great week
guys,
of hoops.
yeah, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what y'all think. Who are y'all picks? Who you got like in the games that we mentioned? Who do y'all think are gonna win? Let us know in the comments, and we'll go back and forth